security will always remain in our hands. Now,
so you're going to see the left and fake MAGA go crazy over that. So they asked Trump about a two-state solution. Okay, yeah, this has been talked about forever. Okay, Palestinian state, Israel state. Yeah, and so Bibi is saying not without Israel being in control. And honestly, if you want to go on the wide road with the haters of Israel, the fake MAGA, and the liberals, have at it. God said not to be on that road. That's all I'll have to say about that. The reason Israel would, because he says we're not going to be suicidal, and they shouldn't, because they've been burned so many times. Again, the Palestinians, even though the entire world has made it out like they're being so victimized, no, you want to know what the Palestinians were doing to the Jews? And let me say this before I tell you what they were doing. Like, let's put it this way. George Soros was an Edomite. Yeah, again, for people that didn't see my other video, Palestinians are Edomites. So they are cousins to the Jews. And for the people that say those European Jews, no such thing. Again, God scattered them all throughout the world, which is why he did it that way. That's the amazing, that's the aha moments I have with God. It's like, oh, that's why you did it. Because you get to see all the racists that say, no Israelite line would have a European name. No, most would. Because that's where the Holocaust happened. See, let's take, for instance, okay, and here's the thing. There's Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay? That's the line most Christians we know about, right? Okay? But in Abraham being, he was the top. And then he had the two sons, Ishmael and Isaac then had Jacob and Edom, okay? But Abraham, Ishmael, and Isaac would have never referred to themselves as Jews because it wasn't a term yet. It came because of the line of Judah, the Jews. And there are Edomites that did convert and became true, Jews is just it's not, it's just really, it's like part of the culture. But it means the descendants of the Israelites. It is. It's just that there's a ton of people that say those Europeans there in Israel aren't, that makes no sense. And most people would say, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. No, it makes absolute sense. Where did the Holocaust happen? In Europe. Why? And for people, this is how bad it is. There's more people putting up videos trying to deny the Holocaust. Look, you can't, there's no way you can deny. That's one that can't be denied because IBM kept meticulous records. Yeah, disgustingly meticulous records. The way they had them all the Jews labeled and numbered, and they had a very efficient extermination process going in Europe. They knew those were the Israelite descendants. They knew. Because, see, they were the Jews, Israelite descendant, were continually being kicked out of the homeland. So, for instance, at 300 or 500, they were taken into Babylonian captivity, okay? Over and over again, as God said in the Bible would happen, they'll be taken into captivity and out of in out. But this was God's plan, because this would force them to all be scattered, and then you wouldn't be able to just, they must be a Jew. They have this name, so they must be a Jew. No. So anyway, when Cyrus the Great, who was a Persian, so he was from Iran, the Babylonian exile, when they took the Jews, the Israelites, into captivity, that was in modern day Iraq. Then Cyrus the Great from Iran took Iraq over, what would be, modern day Iraq, and that was Babylonia then. And when he took it over, he told the Jews, go back to your homeland, which was where the Palestinians were. Now, they didn't go and kick them all out, but this is where they keep coming and they're displacing us. No, they just tried to come back to their homes. But see, while they were in Babylonian captivity, you know what the Edomites, the Palestinians, were doing? They were raiding all their homes. They did. They stole all their stuff, all their belongings, just like George Soros did during the Holocaust, another Edomite. Because the Edomites are at constant war against the Israelite and the Israelite descendants. Okay, it's all through the Bible. God has the most anger with them. So they always love to play this game that, oh, the poor Palestinians, the poor, but no. Really, the Edomites, Palestine, should get their shit together, okay, and stop with this pity party. But I don't know if it's so much them, because they've been so overtaken by the Arab world, which is Ishmael. It is. It's a total sand war with family, all through the Middle East. But the thing is, when Cyrus the Great said, you can go back, build your temple, do it. Some of them went back, a lot of them didn't. And so then they kept falling into captivity again. And so with each time, more and more were like, no, we don't need the homeland anymore. We get God, thanks God, but, we'll just head on over here. And then some for economic reasons. And some of the Israelite descendants went to North Africa, some went to Mesopotamia, some went to Asia Minor, and a ton went to Europe. Which is why the Holocaust happened in Europe. If more of them had gone to Mesopotamia, believe me, Islam and Hitler would have been with IBM, doing their exterminating there. But they knew where most of them were. And they knew that they were the descendants of the Israelites. I know it seems crazy, but that's the reason God did it that way. Because Jew doesn't mean like, it's part of the religion portion. They're descendants of the Israelites. The argument all this time has been, no, those Europeans couldn't be. No, they absolutely would be. Hitler made sure, and Islam, that they knew where most of the Jews were. Are you kidding me? Here's where maybe I'll blow your mind, but I have no evidence for this, but I could see this being true. Is I would bet. I'm just basing this off of an instinct, a hunch, let's say, that Donald Trump is an Israelite descendant. Because his dad goes back to Europe, Germany. So, and again, I have no evidence for that. I could see that being true. Because there were so many of the Jews, the Israelite descendants in Europe. It's just the way it is. They were all through there. That's the reason the Holocaust happened there. And again, there is no denying it. IBM kept meticulous punch cards and order of the whole extermination. It's so disturbing when you look in. There's so much evidence. So they knew where they were. They always knew where they were. That wicked one was always following the Israelites and their descendants. So a ton of them never wanted to go back to the homeland. That's even the same today because of all the, the constant wars going on there. So they were scattered throughout the earth, which is what God wanted. Even though God didn't want them being persecuted, that's the way he wanted it. Because those Europeans are the Israelite descendants. Some of them never having any contact at all with the Holy Land. So that's important because I think that's why Donald Trump will be the one person that can broker a peace deal with all of these nations in the Middle East. And yet, what has seminary school taught everybody? Because still people are falling into this trap that once there's a peace agreement in the Middle East, it's countdown to Armageddon, it's countdown to end of days. No, that's how the wicked one twists scripture, though. It is. No, a peace deal can be had if you have a strong leader, especially if they have some genetics to the Israelites. I imagine Trump does. I'm just a guess. And so those haters are going to say everything hateful about Israel and Trump because they hate Jews.